Scorpio. I feel like I haven't talked to you guys in so long. I'll tell you a funny story before we go super intuitive and get into the cards, and we'll do all the astrology and all that stuff in the extended. So on Twitter, there were a bunch of people going back and forth with each other. I think it was actually a guy and his ex who were going back and forth about what sign they think is my favorite. And one of them is a Libra and the other is a Virgo. And so they were going back and forth, which one. And when I answered them, I didn't realize for a couple of days what was going on. And then when I finally did, I answered and I was like, well, duh, my favorite sign is Gemini, because I'm a Gemini. But are we looking outside of that? With the caveat of course, everyone loves their sign the most. Who is my favorite sign outside of that? And they were like, yes, oh my God, we really want to know. And I thought it was kind of funny that it was even a question, because it's so not a question in my mind. But the reason I want to tell you is because I like the way that I phrased it, or I feel that you guys will really like the way I phrased it. So what I said was Scorpio is my favorite. Scorpios are my favorite. And I can't be attached to anyone who won't be attached to me or who won't need me. I don't know what it is about me as a person, but I need to be obsessed with the people I love, and I need them to be obsessed with me. And neither Libras nor Virgos do that. No judgment, they're extremely independent, not that Scorpios aren't, but your emotional involvement with people is so real. And it leaves no doubt in the person's mind whether they are loved or cared for or protected or nurtured. And that the way that you guys in particular do that, the ferocity with which you love, with which you possess, with which you do anything, be a friend, be a cousin, be a family member, whatever, is so compelling to me. I love it. I love it. I love people who live at 100 the way I do. And so my answer was, after my own sign, Scorpios are my favorite, and then Cancer, and then Pisces. So the water signs are my favorite before anyone else. And for the same reason, just there are varying degrees or varying shades of how the water signs love. But the overall is, the gist of it is this person who will feel with you. Now, how that makes them react depends on the sign, right? So a Cancer will feel with you and just keep feeling with you. And you guys can just stay there. Now, if that's a great emotion that you're having, wonderful. What better, frequency to wallow in? Great. If it's not quite such a great emotion, you can see the problem. Pisces will feel with you and help you, create something out of it, right? Pisces are very fruitful. They're very fertile. When you have dreams of fish, it's because someone's having a baby, right? They create from your emotion. They mingle their feeling with your feeling, and they create from that feeling. And they involve you in that process. The really actualized ones involve you in their evolution and take you on their journey, and it's beautiful. And for that reason, it can be so beautiful to be loved by a Pisces. A Scorpio feels with you, and yet somehow, even though they can feel everything you feel, just like a Cancer can, even though they can take it and they can transmute it into something more, just like a Pisces can, they have this additional ability to say, I feel what you feel. I'm right here with you. And I can still stand in front of you and protect you too. And I'm not even trying. It's just how I am. Don't worry about it. Especially if I feel what you feel, then you get to stand behind me. Come on. Like the ex I always talk about, who was not the one I was married to. Remember, I keep telling you guys. He was very broad-shouldered. And even now, if he sees that I'm like frazzled or in trouble or something, he'll go like this. He's like, come here, come stand behind me. Like, just, right? That. To feel what I feel and still have the wherewithal and the strength and in some ways the distance to be able to say, I am here with you and I can protect you at the same time. I am here with you and I can fight with you at the same time. I can feel what you feel and be as sensitive as you, and I can still challenge you at the same time. You know, instead of getting lost in your murky emotion with you, instead of just taking what you give me and going and doing something with it, I can be here and create and destroy with you. I'm in this with you. That is like love. I mean, come on. Like, who doesn't want that? Who doesn't love that? Who would not, like, how would that not be your favorite person? Right? Like, if we were all zodiac signs, like, how would that person not be your, like, that would be my favorite person. I'll tell you a little story about tattoos later after we do the reading. But let's get into it. We've got a lot going on. We've got a lot of eclipses. We had a lot of stuff going on, and now we have a lot of planetary motion going on in your 11th house in Virgo. And it's just going to be a lot. So let's see what cards come up, and we'll go from there. And then at the end, I'll tell you a little story, something I've been thinking about that relates to you guys and all those tattoos you like to get of yourselves. You'll like it. You'll like it. It's not shade. It's no shade. It's like actually something really cool that'll make you guys, like, when you see like another person who has a Scorpio tattoo, you'll be like, dope. Did you see that video Amber made? Dope. But let's see. So 11th house activity. Virgo's 11 signs away from you. Okay, that's what that means. Venus and Mars keep catching up with each other. They're playing this game with each other. You guys, I feel, have been coming on a little strong. The ones who have gotten an opportunity lately. Ooh, the Emperor. It was the bottom of the deck when I took the cards out, and I wanted to be like, look, it's you guys. But then I was like, no, don't be shady, Ember. But here we are. Look, it's you guys. You guys have been coming on a little strong. You know how we talked about, like, at the beginning of, well, when I first started the channel, right? Remember how we talked about in September, like the first couple of videos last year, we talked about how you guys can be that Emperor card. It was actually a card that came out, I think, in the first or second reading. And we talked about how your ego and your inability to get past, like, those little egoic kind of petty things that bother you can keep you from having real connections with people, but also it can keep you from a lot of great opportunities. So I'm not saying that's what's going on now. I'm just saying that the Emperor card is out because you are displaying some qualities that are a bit, well, I mean, let's see. Let's look at the Emperor. What's he like? He's a good guy. Nothing wrong with him. Super handsome. Sitting there, chilling. Obviously ready for war. Even though he's wearing what you could mistake for a king's robe, he's actually just wearing a shawl because underneath he's dressed in armor. It's the Aries card. He's a warrior. He could get up. He's like on ready. He's sitting on ready. Which is how Aries are. Which is how you guys are acting. And I'm not really sure why. I'm not really sure why. I'm not really sure what the aggressive, like, streak is about right now. If it's like we're getting too close to y'all's birthdays or what's going on. Or maybe it's just because you do have Jupiter entering your sign next month. So, I mean, that only happens like every 13 years or something. Like, you guys are going to get a boost. A hell of a boost. Like, it's going to be a lot. And whatever is in your life is going to be exaggerated. Next card, Temperance. So far, 2 major arcana. I like doing this super intuitive. I like when the major arcana come out first like this too, because it's like, for me, when it's like this, it's because the cards are like, listen, they know what's going on. They just need guidance. They just want to know they just want to know how to flow through what's coming up. So what's coming up? You've got major, major good luck coming up. Major, major expansion and extravagance and exaggeration of whatever is there now. That starts in a month. What do you want exaggerated? You don't want this emperor energy exaggerated. Trust me. You guys do that all on your own, all by yourself. And don't get mad because I started by saying how wonderful your energy is and how you guys are my favorite, which is why I should be able to tell you that y'all can be super obnoxious that way. And you shouldn't do that right now, because if you go into October feeling like, I'm not saying don't feel yourself. Feel yourself. I'm not saying don't be happy with what you have. Be happy. I'm not saying don't be confident. Be confident. Go out. Do all the things. Do all the things. But you know where that line is. And you guys seem to just, you push it. Like, someone came up to me on the street the other day. I was walking to dinner on the Lower East Side, and before he even said anything, I knew he was a Scorpio, just from the way that he, like, ran up and the way he was behaving. I knew. And within, like, 5 minutes of that conversation, which was just me walking and kind of being like, okay, like, hitting on people on the street is really old. Like, you shouldn't be doing this. The conversation kind of turned aggressive. And I was like, I'm sorry, like, I don't mean to encourage you more, but, like, are you a Scorpio? And he was like, yeah. And I was like, listen, like, the next month or so, don't do this with chicks. Like, this isn't going to work. Like, you're just going to end up, like, getting doors slammed in your face over and over again. Like, your approach is not working, and it's certainly not going to work this month. I didn't mean to read him like that, but, like, somebody needed to check him. So, like, I feel like almost like you guys seek me out to check you sometimes. Like, because he just kept going and going. And I was just like, listen, there are a lot of benefits to having a natural charisma. There are a lot of benefits to being naturally good looking. Most Scorpios are very physically attractive. But, like, that is not a free-for-all pass, right? That is not a multi-pass to just behave however you like. This month, the Emperor card, first card out, your advice so far is to not be like that. Don't be sitting on ready. As hard as it's going to be to not let this Mars Aries energy get to you, of course it's going to get to you. It's like it's coming up on you, right? Of course it's going to get you. The card is there to say you've got to find a way to temper this fire. Maybe the way to get you guys on board, because, like, the thing is, you can't really tell Scorpio not to get mad or not to be, like, extra or, like, on ready. You can't, because it's just part of who you guys are. But maybe the way to explain it that will make sense to you guys, or, like, get you on the right side of this thing, is to understand that your emotions are playing you. They're controlling you, okay? So if you can see that your emotions are controlling you, maybe that will incentivize you to regain control of the situation instead of letting your emotions take you on this roller coaster. That's what the Temperance card is really about. It's about, First, let's remember that the Greek word for angel, right, means simply messenger, okay? So this messenger here is bringing you this very, very clear picture of what you need. It's a very, very clear message. Your heart and your mind need to balance. The thing that stands in the way for Scorpio between the balance of the heart and the mind is always you know. I'm just playing with you because ego, your ego. So why this month? Because people are going to try you, but also because you're going to have a lot of people are always trying you, but you're going to have a lot of opportunities to meet some cool people. You're going to have a lot of opportunities to fall in love if you want. You're going to not just reach fulfillment in your work. This is about finding a new way. Jupiter's coming into your sign. It's about finding a new way. It's about whatever was going on 13 years ago. What was it? What do you feel like doing again? What keeps coming up? What rattles you in a good way? Not makes you want to fight, but makes you want to, the other F word. What? What is it? Right? Because you've got this like juice. Jeez. 8 of Pentacles. You've got this like juice right now that you can kind of turn into whatever you want, and you'll have a steady supply of it to swish around between the different parts of you as you like, between the heart and the mind, to make what you want out of it and be pretty steady in the accumulation of money while you do it. All of this is possible now if you figure out. See, the best way to use Jupiter coming into your sign is to figure out what you want made really big and then just give it all you have and let Jupiter do the rest. This idea that astrology somehow isn't scientific, this idea that even though it's persisted for so long, somehow it's this gigantic hoax that keeps just, persisting and perpetuating itself. It's absurd, but regardless. The moon moves the tides, okay? The moon moves the water in our bodies. We know this. The moon, full moons are the time of the month when the most murders happen. We know that we are affected by the planets. So if you need to take the word astrology off of it to like really get what I mean about use Jupiter, then fine, take astrology, take that off it doesn't matter. The moon moving the tides is not astrology. The moon moving the tides is science, okay? So in the same way, Jupiter coming into your part of this cosmic filter, right? The cosmic filter that was over the sky when you fell through into this place, that cosmic filter now gets colored with the planet that isn't responsible for the changing of the tides as our satellite, planet, the moon is, but is responsible for taking any energy that exists within your, piece of that filter, within your piece of the pie there, and just lighting it up. That's what Jupiter does. It lights it up. It exaggerates it. It makes it big. It makes you big. Okay, so if you're feeling very, very small and very victimized, and you feel like, people are just not being nice to you and they're taking from you, if you have all of these feelings of fear and vulnerability in a way where you feel like you will be attacked or you will be taken from, then Jupiter comes in next month and expands that feeling, and you become even more afraid and even more closed in, even more, or you use this month going into next month, the first 10 or 12 days of next month, and you learn to strip away, now that you know what's coming up and now that you know the exaggerative energy that's about to come in, you strip away as much of this emperor energy as you can. Will you be able to get rid of it? No. Do you want to get rid of it? No. We all know you don't. This is why people like me think that you're my favorite, because you don't want to get rid of it. No, of course you don't want to get rid of it. It's wonderful. But you also don't want it exaggerated. It's like, it's good in doses, okay? Like, it's, you know what I mean? Like, we like you how you are. Okay, we like you how you are. You don't need to be more of this. So with that in mind, knowing that this exaggerative energy is coming in, you can play this temperance game now. So let's get the other obvious stuff out of the way. Emperor, temperance card. Temperance card is often associated with Virgos. Emperor is associated obviously with Aries. If you are a Scorpio that's dealing with an Aries, that person is coming through very, very clear right at the onset of the reading. If they are not communicating with you, give them space. If they are playing a sort of emotional game with you where you are talking to them or seeing them and they are acting like your boyfriend or girlfriend, but then aren't giving you the follow through or telling you not to fall in love with them, or are in some way gaming you, give them space. Just let them be. Not that you wouldn't anyway. You're a Scorpio, and I'm not telling you anything you don't already know, but they're coming up here as someone who's going to make a move, who's going to get tired and going to get sloppy, and they're going to make a move. So let them make a move. The Temperance card. The Virgo, on the other hand, may not. The Virgo may handle themselves differently here just because I feel like the situation there, they have a lot more control over the dynamic than you do because you're reactive and they aren't. And so if you are dealing with a Virgo, I would, in that case, I would actually reach out or be more proactive with them because your lack of balance is not the, coming across very well. Next few cards, let me just show you. Next cards out are Four of Swords. All right, the Lovers, cool. Ace of Wands. Good stuff. Four of Cups, the Death card, and the Hangman. Okay, interesting. A lot of major arcana though, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Cool. So out of 9 cards, we've got 5 that are major arcana. So I feel like for sure, the cards are like, listen, Scorpio knows what's up. Scorpio's been doing the work. Scorpio's ready. You just need like major guidance now and like go be on your way. So the money situation, positive. Opportunities in terms of money, very, very positive. Fertility. If you are not trying to get pregnant in September or October, be really careful because you've got this love energy kind of radiating out from you. You're super, super magnetic. And I feel like anything you want is magnetic towards you right now as well, right? So is magnetic to you as well is what I mean. So you're pulling things towards you that you really want, but things that you really want are also rushing towards you of their own volition and like handing themselves off to you. You're really having a lot of luck in certain areas this month, just in terms of attraction. But then there is this 4-4 energy of solitude and being distracted. And I feel like what this is those of you who aren't able to check these impulses, who aren't able to use this temperance energy to mitigate your resting, situation that y'all have. Those of you who don't kind of keep an eye on this guy, let's put it that way. Okay, some months we can let this guy run, and some months we need to rein this guy in. Those of you who can't rein him in this month and can't get to work, you will have to approach a period of solitude and kind of recombination, if you will, because this month is going to kick you around if you behave like this. September's not trying to have this for you. September's trying to make you into a decent person here. I'm just kidding. September's trying to make you nice so this love can come in and change your life. But like really, here we are, oh, look, Scorpio's going to be hard-headed. What a surprise. The stubbornness, dude. The stubbornness of now I have the opportunity through love and patience and temperance and power to change my life, and yet do I decide to do this? I really feel like it's 50-50 with you guys this month. This whole reading feels 50-50 to me. I feel like those of you who saw this card come up and were like, oh, I already know. I already took care of that. I'm past this. I'm over here already. Okay, well, if you're over here already and you already know what's up with how you can be and you've already taken the steps within yourself, even if all that means is just that you're more aware of it. If you've already done that and you're here, good for you. You've got opportunities coming in. You've got love coming in. You've got major, major life change coming in, the kind that you guys absolutely love. Now, on the other hand, if you've ignored this advice and you've let this dude run wild, I don't think it'll have much of an impact in terms of work. I think you'll still make the money you're supposed to make, and you'll still have that energy kind of pushing you in that arena. But I don't feel that you have access to this in quite the same way. You'll get it. You'll get the opportunities offered to you, but you won't take it. Instead, you'll choose to remain in stasis. Now, many of you may choose to remain in stasis just because the sensitivity factor is so high right now, and whenever this kind of love situation starts to creep up, it can be really, that's what it makes me do. It makes me go like, it can make you put the brakes on a little bit. It can exhibit this energy of like, no, remember what happened last time? You see, these cups don't always have to be people you're thinking about from before or emotions from before. This could really be your mistakes. A lot of times this card comes up, you guys, because you can't forgive yourself for something. You understand? Because you feel like whatever you did back then is so bad that you don't even deserve this new thing that's being offered to you. So, being offered to you out of nowhere and you can't see it, being offered to you out of nowhere, right? Energy being, can you see it or not? So, Scorpio, this month, things will be offered. Love will be offered. Opportunity will be offered. Balance and peace will be offered. Even power is on offer there. Death and rebirth on the menu as well. But how many of these things, how many of these invisible hands coming out of nowhere are we able to actually see? I mean, this guy he just can't see them. Literally a hand coming out of nowhere, right in front of his face, and he cannot see it. How many times in our life do we find ourselves here? Right? Can't see through the veil of our own mistakes. Things we just can't seem to forgive ourselves for. This ends up being a month where you can kind of throw that away. You can begin again this month. You can forgive yourself for things that you perhaps had written off as unforgivable, mistakes that couldn't in any way be rectified, thoughts and feelings from the past that you just can't let go of. You could feel very stuck the first couple of days of September, and then the push. Because Saturn has gone direct, Mercury goes direct, Venus and Mars are catching up with one another again. There is so much going on. You will have to fight tooth and nail to keep this stasis hangman energy if you want to stay here. You will have to stubbornly fight for your isolation if you want to stay here, because everything around you is going to try to pull you into a better way to be, a better way to love, a better way to live, but you can't take this guy with you. This guy, you can have this guy on ready in your back pocket, okay? This guy's not a bad guy. But this guy is very different from that guy. See the difference? One's a lover, one's a fighter. Dude, one's wearing armor and red velvet, the other is naked. One's literally wearing steel, covering his whole body so no one can kill him. So protected. And the other is so vulnerable, he's naked. You can't have this with this guy if he's going to keep being like this guy. And maybe that makes you be like, what? Does that mean because it's an Aries card, Aries don't fall in love? I didn't say that. When an Aries falls in love, they take their armor off. You see, what I'm saying is, you guys act like this, but an Aries knows how to take his or her armor off. You guys act like this, but this is not your natural state. So you don't know all those tricks and tips and everything. You understand? This is a contrived energy for you. The ego that builds up around a Scorpio very early in life is not naturally their own. It's not. It's not naturally their own. It's because so many people give them so much attention and do what they want, and they're so magnetic that they learn. It's a learned behavior to be that way. And the further you get from being, in your armor, wrapped in velvet, to being completely naked and completely open, before the universe, until you can make that switch, which in this month you will begin to make, until you can realize the merits of not wearing armor. This particular birth and rebirth, death and rebirth, will be a painful one. You may even want to drag some people through this with you because it will be so painful. Let's pull some outcome cards and see what happens. There's one, 6 of Pentacles, okay. So we're going from the 8 of Pentacles to the 6 of Pentacles. Now, for me, this card comes up a lot when we're talking about reversal. Reversal of fortune, reversal of dynamic, reversal of power, whatever it may be. I think this card applies simply to what I said about the armor and the guy who's naked. I think that you've got to choose in the 6 of Pentacles energy, which one are you? And I think you got to do it every day, Scorpio. Are you the guy feeding the masses, or are you the masses? Are you the master, or are you the victim? Every day, Scorpio, you're given the choice to behave as one or the other. Another 4. But how can you do that with all this fixed energy? Fixed, fixed, fixed. You want to be stubborn, and I get it. But this month is not about being fixed, and it's not about being stubborn. And if you can go with it a little bit, if you can flow with it a little bit, if you can approach to the death rebirth process happily instead of skipping over into the hangman energy, which will then persist, for a year or two. That's okay. Perhaps you need that year or two to stay here. But if you don't want to get caught in this for another few years, then I suggest that you openly embrace this death rebirth process. You openly embrace the idea of being the naked one in love and not the one in his armor. You openly embrace what it is that you really love to do, so you can pursue it and start making really good money doing it, because it's something that you really love to do. And finally, you use the opportunities, whether they be love or money or friendship opportunities, you use the opportunities around you to rehabilitate your sense of your everyday. See this fixed energy, fixed energy, fixed energy. This is, September is the Ace of Wands coming in and offering love, money, insight, deep insight, power. And all you have to do to grasp all of this and change your place in this dynamic is to try to leave this sort of stubborn energy behind. Don't be stubborn, Scorpio, in September. Don't be like this. There's good things. There's love and companionship and new insight, new work, new money, new like ways of finding, what you want to know, new position of power, new desire and like push to work with, just don't be stubborn. And if you're dealing with an air sign that's being super aggressive right now, and they're feeling, they're in their feelings, or they're really upset about something, or they're really upset about how you treated them, or something, along those lines, the most I can say to you is, I'm sorry that person's really upset about what happened between you and them, but you can't use that or anything else that's on the table right now to justify having this energy when Jupiter moves into your sign. You have this kind of flow going on next month, and Jupiter comes in and expands your stubbornness. It makes it unbearable. It makes you unable to do anything properly. Right? So, fighting these fours, pushing this energy away, really running towards this opportune future. Because it's right there in the center of your reading, and it's surrounded by all this support, right? All these basic, clear guidelines of what needs to be done. Okay. So that is your reading for September. Now let me tell you a funny story before I go. So the funny story is actually a little bit political, and it's from like a part of the world that you may not know much about. So just forgive all that. It's all detailed. None of it is really that important. In the 70s, there was a man who was the prime minister of Pakistan. His name was Bhutto, Zulfikar Ali Bhutto. So Bhutto was what is called in Pakistan a civilian. This is a term that's used in my house a lot because both of my parents are ex-military. My mother was a captain in the army. My father was a sergeant. And I was born in a central military hospital during martial law in Pakistan. So like the military, and like my father's entire family on his side going back, I think 8 generations is military. So very long lineage that way. Okay. And my mother's an Aries on top of that, since we were talking about Aries. So like soldier life. Okay. I tell you all that because in Pakistan, being in the military is very, very different than being in the military here. It is a position of extreme power and prestige. You get servants, you get all your clothes washed and pressed and food brought to you, all this kind of like extravagant stuff that I don't think the military, like it's not the same here. Like military here is more about like learning how to fight and like going and fighting. And there it's like an entire lifestyle. Like there's this entire way that world works that really doesn't have anything to do with fighting. It's also like a social lifestyle, right? So this civilian, Zulfikar Ali Bhutto, comes to power, and he says to the military tailors, he says, I would like to have a uniform made. I would like to wear a Pakistani military, army uniform. This is the most powerful man in the country right now, at the time. And the tailors said, no. And he's like, no, you don't understand. Like, I'm the president. Like, I want a uniform. Just make me one. So the generals, the joint chiefs or whatever, they came to see him and they told him, you can't. And he didn't understand. And when my father was telling me the story and he told me, what it was, what their reasoning was and why he never had one made and why he couldn't wear one, immediately what came to mind was Scorpios and how so many of you have scorpion tattoos. We've talked about this before. So the reasoning they gave him for why he couldn't wear a uniform was because the uniform is something that you earn. You have to go through grueling amounts of, years of physical training and just the most desperate situations where you question your life, you question your sanity. I mean, it's a very difficult process to become a soldier. Once you've been trained and become a soldier, then the processes of going to war and, leaving your family, sacrificing your life, all of this is what makes a soldier a soldier. The uniform is a celebration and a decoration of all the sacrifice and all the bravery and virtue that goes into what you've done. The uniform is just a signifier of all that you have accomplished and why you did it. You didn't do it for yourself. You did it for your country, to protect the people where you live, whatever your particular ideology may be that you're fighting for. So the point being, what they had to impress upon him was that a uniform was not a decoration. A uniform was something that was earned. It is a mark of pride and distinction because the person wearing it, by the simple fact that they're wearing it, is letting you know what they've done to deserve it. And simply for that reason, he could not wear one and he could not have one, because you can't wear the uniform, you can't wear the suit, you can't put on the suit if you haven't done the time and paid the dues. You can't. So in the same way, I feel like the reason I tell you guys that is because I feel like the reason Scorpios get scorpion tattoos is because it is like being, you earned it. You earn your stripes, right? On a uniform, you earned it. You've earned your place in the world by coming into the world, falling through the filter of, I will be completely connected. I will know and feel and be intricately involved in all that goes on around me. And yet still I will find a way to shut out that entire world that I can feel and make a safe place for myself and the people that I love. I earned that tattoo. I earned that, right? That honor that you carry with your sign, you're so cognizant and aware of how dope and difficult it is to be a Scorpio, right? That celebratory nature that you have towards your sign, I think it's because you know how heavy it is. You know how difficult it is. You know that it deserves to be celebrated. I love that. Like, I love that. Every time I see someone with a Scorpio tattoo, I'm like, I love it. I love it. I love it. So, it's been a year. I'm going to try not to be emotional because, it's you guys, and you guys make me emotional anyway, and I already told you at the beginning that you're my favorite, so whatever. But right at the beginning, when I first started doing these videos, is when, people were being a little bit mean to me, and it never happened again. After I, told you guys about it in the Scorpio video, and I was, really scared. And I felt so attacked, and I'm not very comfortable or used to either of those emotions. I don't generally get scared ever, and I don't feel attacked. And I did feel both of those things, and I didn't know what to do with them. And then I told you guys, and you guys had my back and have consistently had my back so hardcore. We've had good readings since then. We've had not so good readings. We've had painful readings. We've had misunderstood readings. And yet the love and the support and the looking out for haters and not letting that stuff get through and defending me, it just has never stopped. It is this constant, steady, like oceanic, like stream of just love and support. You guys always have my back. And I don't even know why. Like, I'm so annoying. I don't even know why you guys love me. But I'm so glad you do. Thank you for looking out for me. I swear if I ugly cry, I'm going to be so mad later. Thank you for looking out for me. It means a lot. I fix cards when I'm uncomfortable. It's like having like really smart bodyguards. You guys like guard my soul, and you keep this space so safe so I can do what I do. And I love you so much for it. I love you guys so much. Oh my God. Whatever. I will see you in October. I will be in San Francisco. Everything you need to know about that will be on my site. Everything you need to know about readings is on my site. If you can't access the extended readings, it'll be on the site. All right? You know I mean it. I'll see you in October.